You ever take a trip that almost didn't happen, and when it did, almost didn't work out? Yeah, this is one of those. A few weeks back, I packed up my camera gear and headed down to the borderlands, Upstate South Carolina. That sweet spot where North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia kind of blur into one another. Waterfall country. I'd had this guidebook for years, South Carolina Waterfalls, just sitting on my shelf. A buddy had recommended it after I tore through the North Carolina version. And after everything that had been going on lately, I don't know. I just felt this pull, like it was finally time. And here's the kicker. What started as a vague trip idea turned into something more when a friend posted about a little photography workshop. One of the people who responded was someone I've looked up to for a long time, Mr. Steve. So I thought, why not? We ended up with a small group. Me, my buddy Jay, Steve, and a guy named Paul. 4 photographers and a lot of miles ahead. The vibe starting out? Kind of buzzing. A mix of excitement, nerves, and that low-key photographer anxiety. Would the light cooperate? Would the spots be crowded? Would we get anything? Spoiler, the light did not cooperate. At least, not the way we hoped. The forecast promised cloud cover. We got harsh sun and blue skies. Not exactly waterfall weather. You know how it goes. Hard light, lone highlights, tricky exposure. But still, we were there. And when I finally dropped into that first waterfall scene, I was in it, fully. I'd wandered off a bit, stepped away from the chatter and gear talk, took a breath, camera in hand, water rushing, no noise in my head. That's the zone. That's why I shoot. Of course, it didn't all stay magical. Later on, we hit one of the more popular falls, and everything just fell apart. Too many people, no clean compositions, families splashing, a drone buzzing around, platforms blocking all the good angles. Another stop had me bushwhacking off trail, trying to catch up to the others. I ended up alone in a tangle of brush when I remembered someone on the trail earlier had warned us about venomous snakes. Apparently, their dog had been bitten the year before. Yeah, not ideal. And yet, despite the frustration, the sweat, the stress, every time I got behind the lens, it all quieted down again. Even on the worst shooting days, I've never regretted being out there with my camera. Not once. Now, I mentioned Steve earlier, someone I've admired from a distance for a while. You know how they say, never meet your heroes? This was the exception. The dude was kind, patient, generous, wise. We ended up talking during one of the last hikes, just me and him, winding our way through the woods. He shared his experiences, not just about photography, but about why he does it, what it means to him, and something about that conversation shifted things in me. It reminded me that this isn't about trends, or gear, or social media numbers. It's about showing up, for the scene, for the moment, for yourself. But here's the twist. When I got home, I messed up. In my rush to offload the photos, I skipped my usual import process. Plugged into the wrong port, chose move instead of copy in Lightroom. And just like that, a bunch of my files were corrupted. Gone. I'll be honest, it felt like a punch to the gut. I'd worked hard for those shots. Fought brush, sun, snakes, and doubt. And now some of the best frames, wiped. But not all of them. Some made it through. And one might be the best shot I've ever taken. Still not sure. But I feel something when I look at it. So what's the takeaway? Maybe it's this. You can't control the weather, or the crowd, or the snakes, or even Lightroom sometimes. But you can control your presence, your willingness to show up, your love for the craft. This trip taught me to slow down, to plan better, to protect my process, but it also reminded me to leave space for the unexpected. Because sometimes, the best photos are the ones that almost didn't happen. If you enjoyed this story, share it with a fellow photographer or outdoor wanderer. And if you've got a trip that almost wasn't of your own, I'd love to hear it. Until next time, keep chasing the light.